The Duke of Navezgane has been a mysterious man in 7 Days to Die since its inception, whether that's from Alpha 1 and his supposed control of super mutant zombies, or Alpha 22, where his control is rumored to be more literal, in a sense. I think it's time we take a look back at all the in-game and out-of-game evidence and see what we can piece together. I'm Exotic Gaming and I'll be taking us on this journey. First, I think we should start with some of the basics. The Duke is a figure of immense power within Navezgane, as his face is literally on the currency. This currency itself is also known as a Duke Casino token, and it's pretty much used for everything in the game when it comes to trading. This alone shows his huge sphere of influence among the society that's developed after the fall of the world. Recently, the developers of the game have also released some new art as well for the Duke, with some more background information on the world and the Duke himself. Duke H. Cassador, 43, proprietor and owner of the Cassador Casino. The illustrious community leader as always, Duke Cassador has made his voice known on the growing pandemic, in comments made to the mayor during a community outreach event. Duke Cassador insisted that it was imperative to close our borders immediately to prevent further contamination. This seems to show the Duke was a particularly important citizen even before the fall of society. Although not everyone in the community agreed, as we see further in the article, people called him delusional and paranoid. This is the first look we've really gotten on the Duke's personality and his character itself. The biggest thing before this we knew was some information all the way back in Alpha 1 gameplay footage.
Enemies, including the acid-puking Hulk, whose vomit can melt blocks, or the chain gun-toting wasteland bandits. Even bosses like the crazed Duke of Navezgane and his army of mutated soldiers.
Even in Alpha 1, the Duke was conceptualized as a powerful man, and this hasn't changed to this day. What we don't know is what these mutated soldiers could be or if they are scrapped altogether. In my opinion, the idea is probably scrapped altogether in favor of the bandit system, although I could be completely wrong because a behemoth zombie module was almost added in an earlier alpha, not to mention the demolisher zombie that we currently have in the game. Regardless, it could be a combination of zombies and bandits in the Duke's faction that go to war against the White River faction. Currently, when you spawn into the game, you can get a sense of this faction warfare that could be going on between the Duke and the White River settlement. Noah, the man who saved you from dying by the Duke's hand, seems to have a feud with the Duke himself. Now, we don't know this for sure, but it sure is implied throughout the game. Perhaps you, the player, will have to build up the White River settlement faction enough to battle against the Duke's bandit faction and eventually assault the casino POI, showcased here. Truth be told, the Duke's flag next to the White River settlement's flag does already give the vibe of a faction system of some sort. Regardless, the Duke is implied to have a connection to the player character, as we can see by the note he leaves in our ass crack after leaving us for dead. Just a friendly reminder that you pay on time every time, otherwise there will be consequences. Thanks for the gear, but you still owe us. See you soon. From this we can gather that we could have been a member of this local area even before the downfall of society. Some of the dev art that I showcased earlier also gives more context clues to the world at this time. The year is 2034 and it's January at the time of this newspaper. Now what we can infer from this is that the year is probably around this time, given that most of the food is still edible in the game. The president ordered nuclear attacks on United States cities to help curb this infection from spreading. The military seems to be failing in containing the virus, and the outbreak will eventually spread. The death toll for the epidural virus has become immeasurable, previously estimated to be in the hundreds of millions, as governments across the world find themselves unable to effectively contain the virus. It goes on and on, basically saying the whole entire world is going to shit. Now the Duke is also mentioned near the end of this article as well. The Duke Cassador, who insists that policies ... I imagine this has to do with the border policy that we know he was not so pleased with. His opinions that are now in the paper seem to correlate with what we knew about his character in the game as well. His running of a force protection gang with taxes seems to fit the bill of a closed border type of personality pre-apocalypse. We know he is forcing people to pay this tax as well because traders within the game can frequently be heard mentioning the payments that they owe the Duke. Perhaps this is why the hordes of undead don't attack the traders on day 7. Maybe the undead really do belong to the Duke and he does control them in some fashion. Or maybe all of this will be proven wrong in the next alpha. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing to the channel. I produce all kinds of 7 Days to Die content, including news, cinematic let's plays, and big base builds. And I'll see you guys in the next video.